Hello and welcome to everyone. Today our guest is MMA fighter Michael Stack. Michael, thank you so much for accepting the interview. And how would you generally describe yourself as a fighter? What would you generally say about yourself? Do you have some kind of announcement, when people hear your name for the first time? What do they say?
Uh, as a fighter, I think I'm just one of those guys that goes in there and, brings a fight. I like to, I'm not there trying to point strike or, win by points. I'm there to punch you in the face as much as I can and hurt you. So I treat a fight like I would a street fight or something like that. So I come to bring some entertainment, I suppose.
Excellent. When did you start training MMA?
I started training. I started training in 2013. I kind of knew I wanted to fight early, when I was about a freshman in high school, and so I started making moves uh, towards my MMA career. I joined wrestling. I was a three-sport athlete in high school. I did football, I wrestled, I swam. So, you know, I I've made um, decisions and moves towards this career. Um, but I didn't really have the money to start training till I graduated high school, and that's when I started training. And I've been all over the place.
Excellent. Which was your first martial art?
It was probably, I guess, if you consider wrestling a martial art. I mean, it's a foundational. It's definitely a foundational thing in martial arts, and a lot of great MMA fighters use wrestling. So I would think probably wrestling was my first like official martial art. But I was boxing and kind of like my dad boxed, so he kind of taught me a little bit of boxing when I was young, but I never competed in boxing or anything like that. So it'd probably be wrestling.
Do you have favorite strike?
Do I have a favorite strike?
Yeah.
Um, I got a solid left hook. Uh, I got a solid right hand, but I guess any strike that puts you unconscious is my favorite strike.
Excellent answer. And about favorite submission?
Favorite submission? I like choking. I definitely I think a darce or a guillotine or front guillotine like that. Any of front choke, anything like that. I really like the choking just because you can go through so many chains of it. So I like those types of those submissions.
Who's coaching you right now, and who are your sparring mates?
Right now, I'm being coached under Ryan Schultz at Trials Mixed Martial Arts, and I got Justin Gonzalez. He just got signed to Bellator, and last week I was training out in Vegas with Team Syndicate. So I was working with Natan Levy. I was working with Jordan Levitt, and some of those guys out there. Um, but really, I travel a lot and train all over the place.
I got to say, I was pretty much impressed by Jordan Levitt. He's a really, really big prospect.
Yeah, Jordan Levitt is he's a stud, man. He's got some really great jiu-jitsu, and he's just got a different type of personality that you don't normally see in the sport. So it's kind of interesting.
Do you have a nickname?
No, I don't have a nickname.
Not yet. All right. What can I say about first amateur fight?
My first amateur fight, well, it was, I don't think the opponent was to my level, but it was definitely a crazy experience. I fought in a bar, so my first MMA fight was in a country bar down in Denver. Um, I remember being so excited for it and not even really having any nerves. I was more nervous than I wasn't nervous. You know what I mean? Um, and I just could not wait to get in there. Had a huge adrenaline dump afterwards. Didn't even know what was going on. I won the fight, but it was a crazy experience. It definitely made me realize, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Can you pinpoint to the most difficult amateur opponent?
My most difficult amateur opponent would probably be my second fight. It ended up being like a back and forth fight. He hit me with a couple shots. Well, it wasn't really back and forth because I pretty much hit him with everything but the kitchen sink. You know what I mean? But he was tough. He stayed in there, and he landed a couple shots on me. He checked one of my kicks that really messed up my ankle for a little bit after that. But that would probably be the toughest fight that I had as an amateur, and it was solid. It was a fun one to watch.
Now, one, let's say technical question. How did it affect you? For example, you're trading barbs in the ring with a guy who simply doesn't want to go down. So how does it affect fighter mentally?
Yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't understand that very well. So you mean like how does it affect me fighting someone that doesn't want to go, like, as far as takedown, or as far as like just doesn't want to go down, period?
Yeah, a guy who simply doesn't want to go down. You are landing everything you had. You know, you are trading everything you had. You are landing punch after punch, kick after kick, and he simply doesn't want to go down. So, how
Well,
does it affect you? No knockdowns. The guy is still standing. Does it irritate you? Is it hard for you? Is it? Are you saying like Michael Mendonca? All right, I have all the gas tank of this world, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna continue. Do you understand the question now?
yes, yes. So as far as that goes, man, I think it's just depending on your mentality going in there, it should be pretty fun. You know what I mean? I suspect that if a guy's not going down and he's that tough, he's hitting you with some stuff too, and he's testing your grit also, and that part should be a that should be the fun part of it, where you're both just putting your heart and soul out there. You're both just landing shots and just hurting each other, and you're hurting him, but he's not. His willpower is strong, and those are the kind of moments in competition where you actually test yourself the most. You know, I mean, it's fun to get those nice highlights and those knockouts and those quick fights, but when you get really tested and you're pushing yourself like that, that's it's something different. I can't really describe it in the sense. It's kind of like it's a respect. You definitely respect your opponent, and I'm sure if you're exhausted, it's something where you have to dig deep and find something else in you. But that's kind of why we do this, right? We're doing this sport to dig and find that extra push in ourselves that we're able to compete at that next level and achieve things that we never thought we could do. And, those types of fights bring that out of you. So, if they're just taking shots and they're not really giving anything back, that's a little something different. That's where you're just like, okay, I'm just going to, pick this guy apart till he falls down. But when they're bringing it back to you and it's back and forth, and that's one of those things where it's like, yes, this is what we're here for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. What can you say about your first professional fight?
That was one of those fights, where I was hitting that kid with a whole lot of stuff too, and he wasn't going down. He had heart. I got tired punching him in the face, and he kept going. He was tired. We were both exhausted. It got bloody. I caught him with an elbow, and just freaking blood was pouring down. So we were both covered in blood. But neither of us gave up. He had that Mexican heart that everyone talks about with those Mexican fighters. And, he was just a tough dude. I thought it was a really entertaining fight and really exciting fight. But, yeah, that was a fun one for sure.
And in your next fight, you defeated the opponent via submission, right?
I did, but the submission came off of a knockdown. So I rocked him with a solid right hand, almost put him out with it. And then he dropped for a second, and then he got back up, and I went in to throw another strike, and he shot a takedown right away. And off the takedown, I was able to capitalize on a triangle choke.
What do you think? Is it easier to submit rocked opponent or normal opponent?
I would say it's probably easier to submit a rocked opponent because they don't have their bearings with them. And it depends. It depends how they fight, but I'd say it's much easier to submit a dazed opponent because they don't have their all their senses about them. They're struggling. They're panicked a little bit, and a part of a good submission defense is from yourself and realize what's going on. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah, if you're gonna rock them, that's a good time to choke them too.
Yeah, outstanding. How did you defeat James Martinez?
With James Martinez, I just freaking pretty much picked him up, slammed him down, and then ground and pounded him out.
Excellent. About your fourth fight, it was LFA debut, right?
Correct.
What can you say about LFA as a general promotion, and of course about your fourth fight? But in general, what do you think about LFA?
I think LFA is one of those promotions where you're getting on that show because you're expecting to make the next leap to the higher division, the higher promotions such as Bellator, PFL, obviously the UFC being the number one. I think they're like the biggest UFC feeder promotion out there. So, they're not a big payday, but they are a huge exposure. You get on LFA, you win some good fights, you're probably going to get picked up by one of these big promotions. And, that's the goal. That's why we're all fighting, is to get that big paycheck, right? So I think LFA is great for that. And they give, the great competition that you're fighting really good competitors in that division. A lot of guys that are champs in the LFA go out to be champs in the UFC.
Yeah, I agree about that. Your only professional loss came to Kai Kamaka, who now competes at the UFC. So what can you say in general about that fight?
That fight was super close, in my opinion. I think you took the first. I definitely took the second round, and I was winning the third round up until the takedown. He didn't do a whole lot with the takedown except hold me there, but, it's my job to be getting up, and he was able to hold me there longer than he should have. And when the ref finally stood the fight up, had I had been able to, score 10 more strikes, something like that, I think I would have won the fight. But that takedown was just enough control time that I think they gave it to him for that round. So in my opinion, I think, don't let people hold you down. I can't let people hold me down, and I definitely need to score and try and finish fights. And I was super close to finishing him in the second round. I know I was, but I even wobbled him in the third round with a left hook. So, it was a learning experience, but I won't let it happen again.
How are you feeling heading into your next fight right now?
I feel great. I feel like I've been training very, very hard. I've been putting a lot of work in. Right now, my weight I'm around 160 pounds. So, I'm super close to being where I should be for this coming week. About right around Sunday, I should be below 160. And once I get below 160, just the water cut to get down to 145 is, all that's left. And then just fight on Friday. So, I think as far as everything goes, I'm right on track, and I feel good. And I've been training with high-level competition. I've gone to syndicate, trained with some of my guys here, and I feel great.
Can you please bit hard, please, on the camera?
What's that?
Yes. Okay. If you win this fight, what are your next plans?
Well, if I win this fight, so I was actually supposed to fight Jordan Mappa back in November, and then I was supposed to fight back in September, early September. I was supposed to fight in October, and then I had my baby. So we were like, okay, I think maybe we should wait because we were due in October. If we had been able to schedule early October, I could have fought. But because they wanted to fight right when, actually the day they wanted to schedule the fight was when my baby was born. So I'm glad that I didn't take that fight. But it was too close to the due date, so we scheduled it to November, and then I tested positive for COVID, and we had to reschedule again for January. So I've pretty much been in a fight camp since my last fight with Kai Kamaka. I've done the dieting. I've done a cut twice. You know what I mean? So I've been doing this. I've been training. So after this fight, I would like to take a little bit of or maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, just refresh my mind, refresh my body a little bit, and then get right back to it. And I'd like to be into the UFC, before the end of this year. So we got some time. I think I can make it.
So your health is fine right now?
Yeah, my health is fine. They say because I've had COVID back in November that I should be good for 90 days. That most people that catch COVID are, from what the studies show, that they don't re-catch it within those 90 days. So I should be good and ready to go. As far as health goes, I feel great, and my body feels strong, and the weights, even with the lower calories and the less food that I'm eating, the weight's good, and the body's strong.
Outstanding. Would you like to give a shout out to someone? Would you like to mention something we didn't say in this interview, or did we forget to say something?
No, I don't believe so, but I would like to give a shout out to my buddy Logan, who's been helping me big time with my diet. His handle's ram.fitness on Instagram, and then just my management and my coaching at Trials. So Team Iridium is my management. My coach is Ryan Schultz at Trials MMA, and also want to give a shout out to Syndicate because they had me out there last week and helped me train. So yeah, and thank you for having me on the show, man. I appreciate it.
No problems. I will put the video to creation now. If not today, it will be tomorrow, but it will probably be today, your time. I will put it to creation now. I will send you a message when it's done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
You as well. Goodbye.
Goodbye.